All right, so we're going to do practice question number 1. All right, so the first thing I want you guys to see when you're looking at this, what's the basic shape of this? It's just a cube, all right? And then we're going to cut some stuff out of it. So try not to overthink these things when you're trying to break them apart. Find the simplest explanation first. So one thing that I really want you guys to make sure you pay attention to is what unit it calls for on the test. So it will call out in the description at the beginning of the part what unit. So we need to make sure that when we are in SolidWorks, we are in that unit. So you can just start a part file, and you guys know how to do all of this, and then come down here to the bottom right and make sure that you are in the right size. All right, so we're going to start a new sketch, and we're going to make this basic cube. So our vertical is B, and B is 70. Our horizontal is 67. And our depth is A, which is 50. All right, so there's our basic cube. So now what we're going to do is start with probably the most basic thing first in that, well, maybe not the most basic, but we're going to cut that X out of the back. So quick, down and dirty, easy way to do this is, there we go. All right, and then we are going to offset entities, and the thickness of our X is 9.6. And so what we want to do is we want to go bidirectional. We want to cap the ends so that we can extrude cut this. And we want to take that 9.6 and we want to divide it by 2 so that it's going off the ends that way. And I clicked in the wrong spot. All right, so there, and we could cap the ends with arcs or lines, it wouldn't matter. The arcs are nice because they go out past the shape, and then that way we don't have to worry about any zero tolerances on our extrude cuts. So we're going to hit apply on that. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim away all of our extra and give us just the X that we want to get rid of. All right, features, extrude cut, and we are going to cut in 1.5 millimeters. Rotate this, make sure we're going the right way. And in one feature we have, or in two features we have the X on the back of this. Next thing we're going to do is we are going to cut the circle and the slit. Now you could do these in two different features, but just to keep things as simple as possible, we are going to do it in one. So the first thing we need is the circle, and the center of that circle is 27 from the bottom, and also 27 from the outside edge. So we have to make sure that we don't accidentally click in where we have cut out. And the diameter of our circle is 38. Alright, so there's the circle that we need. Now there's going to be a rectangle on the front of this circle, and it is 19 tall. Alright, so we know it's 19 tall, and we know it goes right through the middle of this circle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a line coming off the center point of that circle. And I want that line to be perfect, so I'm going to hold shift. And I'm going to make that line for construction, so SolidWorks will ignore it. It's just there for me. I know that this is 19 tall, so what I need to do is I need to go from that line to here. Alright, the other way you could have done that is just taken that dimension to the center of the circle. But with that line there, it just gives us an extra visual. Yes?
Could you have done the smart dimension from the middle point of your triangle down to the bottom at 27 also?
The middle point of my triangle.
I'm sorry, your rectangle.
Yes, I could have. Yep. Yeah, that would have worked too. My shape goes out past there, so that's good. That's what we want. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to trim out the extra. So now we have kind of our weird little shape that we're going to cut through. So we're going to go to Features, Extrude Cut, and through all. And you'll notice that I don't even exit my sketch when I go and pick a feature. Now, that saved me 2 seconds, but if we do that and you extrapolate it over all the times that you're going to exit a sketch and pick a feature throughout taking this test, if you're comfortable skipping that, it's something that you could do. Alright, now, I got ahead of myself and I want to add one more thing in that same feature. So I'm going to come back in here, normal to that again, and I'm going to edit the sketch. And all this is going to do is cut down on the number of features because this one's going to be included in that same feature. So the height of this slot is 3.3 from the top. It's 12.5. Yes, but I don't know them off the top of my head. So, and I don't want that dimension there. I want to go from here to here with my dimension. I just use the mouse wheel quick tools. But yes, there is. But I don't ever use them. So, that's alright. And you'll notice it's already included in that. So if we exit this, it should pick this up. And it did. Alright. So we have our slot now. We'll go ahead and cut. We have a circle hole up here at the top. One thing that you can do too is before you start the sketch, if you know what feature you're going to have, you can pick that feature and then click on that surface and it will start you a new sketch and already have the feature picked that it's going to use. And I always use my quick, dimension, circle, rectangle, line, and you can add and customize to that. So I think you can add those features onto that mouse wheel if you want. I've just never done it that way. So this circle is 8.3. And 33.5 with a diameter of 6.3. And the quickest way to extrude this now is I am going to pick up to surface. And then that way, if my part is rotated and it's easy to click this surface or this surface, I can click it and I don't need to know how far that is. So all I'm doing is I'm going to say you're going to put a hole through that up to that surface. What? You could do up to next. Yeah, that's actually a better choice than what I did, doing up to next. So the next thing we're going to do is put our seats in here. So the best way to do this is to right click, no, not right click, we're going to go up to Reference Geometry Plane, click on this surface, we're going to offset it, and it starts at, actually it ends at 12.5, and then it's going to come back. We're going to cut back towards us on this, and then we're going to flip the offset so we're in there, and we're going to hit OK. We go right onto this, start a new sketch on that plane. Hover over this circle because we want this to be right in the center. Give that a dimension, which is a radius of 20. So we know our diameter is 40. Exit that, extrude cut. Got to make sure we're going the right direction, so we got to flip. Flip that, and then we want 1.5 as our length of cut. Normal to this side, and just go through the same procedure again. So we're going to start a plane. We want it 12.5. We're going to flip that offset, and we're going to normal to that side. We know we're going to do an extrude cut, so I'm going to click extrude cut. Then I'm going to click that plane 2. And hover over that, go to my circle, and that has a radius of 20, and I'm just going to put it in this time right then. Exit that. Since I started my sketch with clicking extrude cut, before I clicked on the plane, it already had that selected for me. I'm going to reverse that so it's coming back towards the outside. Hit OK. Going to change my material to ANSI 1020. So I'm going to go into Edit Material. Click ANSI 1020, apply that. And just to clean things up, I like to hide my extra planes that I put on my parts just because it makes them look a lot neater if I do that. Go to Evaluate, Mass Properties. Now, on your practice tests, you have a multiple choice. Some of the ones on the CSWA are multiple choice. Some of them are just fill in the blank. So there'll just be a text box that you have to type it in. We look on here, my mass is 1127.72, and D on our answers is 1127.72. So we drew it right. All right, if you get the multiple choice and you get something that's only like a gram off, just a minuscule amount off, pick that one, move on to the next. If you have time, come back and redraw it. Because if there's a common mistake that will give you the wrong mass, they will have that, something close to that in there. But with the time frame that you're under, it's best to just answer it, mark it down on your scratch paper that you need to relook at that one because you weren't perfect, and then come back to it. All right, does anybody have any questions? Austin?
They grade you on your part, right?
They don't grade you on your part.
Oh.
It's like a 10-question quiz, and you're just putting numbers and answering multiple choice questions. You don't send them your parts. They don't even look at them. All you're doing is drawing in SolidWorks to come up with the right mass to put into the test. All right? That's an awesome question. Anybody else have any questions?